Hey everyone, welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pro wrestling podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy of what you love. I'm your host, my name is Victoria Daisy, and today we're going to be recapping everything that happened 2 nights ago on NXT. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Now let's get right into it. Now, I want to preface really quickly 2 things. One, yes, this episode is a day late, and that's because yesterday was my birthday. So exciting. Usually my NXT recaps come on Wednesdays, but I delayed it one day because I was at Disney World, so obviously couldn't film then. But I am back and so excited to be talking about everything that happened on NXT. And speaking of NXT, I was there this past week. I was in Orlando. Well, I live in Orlando, but I was at the Performance Center and it was just so much fun. I hadn't been to NXT in a couple months, so very excited and I can't wait to talk about everything with you guys. So let's dive deep into the first segment of the night. So we had our NXT champion, Oba Femi, coming out. So he called out the new mystery faction that attacked him at Vengeance Day. He said that they made one very big mistake but didn't finish the job. He continued on to say that they hit him with their best shot, but he's still standing unfazed. So he calls them out to the ring and he said, this is a direct quote, he said, that they need to finish what they started. So the lights go out. A little bit of ambiance music plays and I'm like, okay, here we go. They're about to come out, right? And I'm hyped, okay? I'm actually sitting one seat from the aisle. So I was like, oh shoot, like they might come out from the crowd, like this is gonna be great. And then they didn't. And who is standing at the entrance? The TNA X Division champion, Moose. I was quaking. The entire PC was quite literally quaking. This is a matchup I've wanted to see for a very long time, and I can't believe that it's finally going to happen. We've opened the door to it now. So Moose starts off by saying, this is a direct quote from him. He said, Oba, I just burst the bubble you've been living in because I'm the one man you can't rule over. Loved that Oba had a quick response. He said, where you come from, that's your bubble. But here, I'm inevitable. Moose responds and said that this matchup between Oba Femi and Moose has to happen. And then Oba said, don't worry, it will. Then they both raise up their titles high and have like a little stare down. And that's pretty much the end of the segment. But I love this because, again, this is something we've wanted to see for the very longest time. You know, we've had Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, the Rascals, JDC. We've had so many people come over from TNA, but Moose has been one of the top people that I have been wanting to come over and cross that door, if you will. And I'm just so happy he finally did. I think he's going to have a great match with Oba whenever that does happen. I think he'll have great matchups with a couple other people in NXT as well if they do decide to do that. But it was just so good. But let's get straight into the action. So the first match of the night was a number 1 contenders match for the Women's North American Championship. So it was a triple threat match. We had Jada Parker versus Carmen Petrovic versus Kalani Jordan. Now, this was a fantastic match, I gotta be honest. I mean, there was such incredible action. I was so impressed. So, you guys know how much I love these 3 women. And I just have to say, they did not disappoint. All 3 of these women have such a bright future, and I love nothing more than to watch them wrestle. But in the end, Carmen Petrovic won and is now the number 1 contender for Stephanie Vaquer's NXT Women's North American Championship. Now, the ending was wild because Jada had just done a move to Kalani and she was getting ready. She walked away, turned her back, which is a rookie mistake, and she was getting ready to do another move. I don't know what she was going to do. Maybe she was going to run from the ropes, jump the top rope. I don't freaking know what she was about to do. She didn't get to do it. While Jada was walking to the turnbuckles, Carmen slipped in, got the pin, and won the match. And Jada was not happy because then she attacked Carmen. Then eventually Jada and Kalani went at it, and then that took them backstage. So then we were just left with Carmen and Ashante the Adonis left in the ring celebrating. But that didn't last for long because Fatal Influence came out to attack Carmen Petrovic. Now, something that got me really mad about this, I was there live. So I didn't know this until I got home and I started reading Twitter posts and all that stuff. But something that angers me is that a lot of this segment did happen during a commercial break, which I think is so unfair because it was definitely one of the better ones of the night. And Fallon was cutting a promo. And if you weren't there, then you wouldn't have known what she would have said. So a quick debrief of what she said. She basically was just talking about how great she is and that she deserves to get her title back and that she's mad that Carmen won, basically. Then Stephanie Vaquer, our NXT Women's North American Champion, comes out, and then right behind her comes out Julia. They all start going at it, but in traditional wrestling form, they were outnumbered. So they needed someone. And that someone was Jordynne Grace. She came out for the save, and then they all started going at it. Jordynne got on the mic and said that she came to NXT because she wants to be a part of the best women's division in all of wrestling. But now that she's here, she doesn't want to waste time. And so she challenged Fatal Influence to a triple threat tag team match, if you will. So Fatal Influence versus Jordynne Grace, Stephanie Vaquer, and Julia in the main event of NXT, which we will get to later on. Now let's move on into a different match. We had a tag team match. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, the Meta Girls, versus Zarya and Soruka. I like the little story that they're building with them and that has unfolded in the last few weeks. I thought it was a pretty great match, lots of great action, and this was a great matchup for so many reasons, but I think it was really great because it was just the classic battle that we see often reoccurring in the WWE of a classic battle of speed and strength. And I love it. I mean, we had the powerhouses like Lash Legend and Zarya, and then we had the speedsters, if you will, Soruka and Jakara Jackson, and I just thought it was amazing. But in the end, Zarya and Soruka won. After this match, we headed into probably one of the most anticipated things of the night, and that was Ricky Stark's contract signing. Now, we now know him as a different name, but we will get to that in a little bit. So he basically comes out and he's giving the typical introduction promo, if you will, saying that NXT is a dream for most people, but for him, it's reality. He said he is going to do what he does best, and that is show up and show out because the revolution begins now. Then we had Ethan Page, all ego interrupt. And this took me on a trip to Gag City, okay? If you know anything about these two talents, then you know why this is a gag and a half for obvious reasons. And the crowd was stunned. I was stunned. Ethan comes out to basically say that he's the top guy here and that there's only one Ethan Page. And I truly could watch these two bicker all day long because their fire one-liners had me cackling in my seat. I'm not even lying. But then Javon Evans attacks Ethan Page from behind, and something that was pretty cool about this moment was that when they started fighting, they ended up getting into the crowd and they ended up coming up the aisle that I was right there at. So I actually posted a video on my Instagram and my TikTok. If you go to the video talking all about, or not talking, but showing Ricky's contract signing, that video is in that video. That clip is in that video, whatever. And it was just such a cool moment. I thought it was so fun. And they were so close to me, like literally inches. It was insane. So then Ricky gets back to business, but he can't catch a break because Wesley interrupts. And Wesley comes out and is trying to act like the superior because he's been here longer. He said that he wants to be the first person to show Ricky the ropes around here. Ricky said that Wes and Ethan have the same problem. They talk above their limit. So Ricky challenges Wes to a match next week. Ricky finally signs his NXT contract and we officially got his new name reveal. His new name is no longer Ricky Starks. It is now Ricky Saints. He said in an interview with Busted Open that the reason he chose this new name was to honor his heritage in Louisiana, where he's from. Obviously, Saints is a nod to the New Orleans football team, aka the New Orleans Saints. he said that it's the closest he could get to Starks, and he said that he likes the name but understands it's going to be an adjustment for fans. Now, something that was interesting, you guys know I was there on Tuesday, and I actually didn't know about the name change until I went onto Twitter about 30 minutes later and saw the news, because they didn't show that in the PC. It didn't pop up on the screens, nothing. So I had no clue that happened, but everyone at home did. And honestly, at first, I wasn't sure what his name was going to be. I thought they were going to change it completely. I heard there was rumors about Dexter Steele, but that didn't happen. God bless. It's still Ricky, just Saints. And I do love that he chose something that was very authentic to him and something that would honor his heritage, which I love. So you know what? If it makes him happy, then I'm happy for him. I'm not really sure if he wasn't allowed to keep his Stark's name or not, but you know what? We've got a new name and we're just going to have to adjust to it. And I'm already slowly starting to say Ricky Saints. So you know what? It's fine. We're all going to get it in a couple weeks and it'll be great. Then we move backstage for a Fraxium backstage segment. They were talking about their recent title defense when no quarter catch crew interrupted them. They didn't get to talk long because the NQCC interrupted, and they said that they want to challenge the best tag team possibly of all time. So Fraxium saying, they're like, okay, yeah, it's going to be us, like fire. But then they call out the TNA tag team champions, Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys, to a match next week on NXT in Cincinnati. This is going to be insane. And the reason I just said Cincinnati is because, you know, if this was in Orlando next week at the PC, you best believe I'd be there. But it's not, unfortunately. They're going to be back on the road, which is great for them. But I just have to say this is going to be an incredible match. I mean, the Hardys are nothing short of seasoned vets. They have done everything possible, and I love them so much. And so to have this match to uplift, you know, newer rookies, if you will, is going to be so fun and special, and I honestly cannot wait. Now, speaking of a very great match, Shawn Spears and Channing Stacks Lorenzo had a match right after that segment. And first of all, I got to say, I'm loving the presentation of Shawn Spears' new faction. I think they're going to feud very well with the family, if you will. And I thought this was a great match. Both of these superstars are so underrated and did not disappoint this match at all. But in the end, Shawn Spears won. Which, you know, you guys know I love the family, so that was a bit disappointing. Then we move on into a not so fun match. We had Andre Chase versus Eddie Thorpe. Good match, but nothing terribly interesting. I'm honestly tired of seeing these two, to be honest. Andre Chase has no purpose. Eddie Thorpe is just annoying. And then, of course, Eddie Thorpe won in the end. But we did get a video popping up on the screen from Trick Williams to let Eddie know that he's not done with Eddie until he says he's done. He's got unfinished business, and in that little video, he teased an underground match, which I am here for, and I would love to see that happen. So let me know your thoughts if that is something you guys be interested in. Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams in an underground match. I would love to see that. Nothing was made official or he didn't call out a match, but I would love to see it regardless. Let's head backstage. Speaking of making matches official, let's talk to the queen, the final boss of NXT, Ava. So Ava's walking through the halls of the PC talking to Ricky Saints. Got to get used to that one. He said he thinks he's going to fit in here, but it's chaotic. And right as he said chaotic, chaos walked through. Ethan Page and Wesley came into the mix, then followed by Javon Evans. Ava said that she had a simple fix for this problem. She announces that next week on NXT, it'll be a tag match between Wesley and Ethan Page versus Javon Evans and Ricky Saints. So I'm assuming that this tag match replaces the single match that was going to happen next week between Ricky and Wes. But you know what? I'm not complaining. I'm excited. I think it's going to cook, and I'm sure we'll get Ricky and Wes at some point as well. Now let's head into the main event. So we had the three-way tag match between Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace versus Fatal Influence. Now, I gotta say, this was an incredible match. NXT truly does have the best women's division in the entire world. I mean, fight the wall if you disagree. It's not an opinion, it's just a fact. Look around the world, even Raw and SmackDown NXT does not compare. It is on its whole other level, and it is just amazing. All 6 women had a great showcase of everything they can do and truly put on a spectacular match. Incredibly stacked, by the way. Each woman is just, I'm speechless, and I can't wait to rewatch it because it was just that good. But in the end, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace took that W, and it was just so amazing. But the show didn't end there. No, we headed backstage. After the main event, the camera crew went backstage because something happened. Okay? The mystery faction is back and making their mark and making a huge statement to the entire NXT locker room. So if you remember the original debut of the Wyatt Six, when was that? Last summer? I don't even remember when that was. Last year. I think it was some point last year. If not 2023. I don't even freaking remember. Whenever the Wyatt Six debuted. It was a similar concept where they destroyed everything backstage and spray painted words on the wall that read, "No one is safe." And woo, I'm loving what they're doing with this new faction. And they could have easily shown up at NXT. I mean, Obafemi even called them out, but they didn't because WWE is building strong anticipation with them, which I think is so smart and I love because now I'm like, okay, this really dominant new faction that we've been teased at for the 3 weeks made their debut at Vengeance Day, took out Obafemi, took out Fraxium, Josh Briggs, and Yoshiki Inamura, and now Oba's calling them out, and then we thought they were going to come out, but then Moose came out, and then what are they doing? Oh my god, now they destroyed all of backstage. I can't wait to see them again, and what they're going to do next, and what's their mission, and who are they after? There's so many questions, and the way they presented them was so... It just felt like a spectacle. Like, I felt almost scared watching it, which I was like, okay, I need to, like, chillax because I wasn't even scared watching the Wyatt Six. So it's like, oh my god, what is happening? So I love what they're doing. Okay, and I think it's so brilliant. And it's taking bits and pieces of inspiration from previous factions and storylines and tag teams that worked and just creating something fun, fresh, and new, especially for the NXT fandom. So we've got stuff from Retribution, stuff from The Shield, stuff from the Wyatt Six, all put together into this faction, and I just love it. It's building up 4 new guys in a way that we've never seen before in NXT, and I just think it's going to be amazing. So let's head into my overall thoughts. I thought it was a fantastic show. Obviously, I'm slightly biased because I was there myself, so it was obviously better live. But my match of the night was the 3-way tag match between Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Jordan Grace versus Fatal Influence. It was an absolutely stacked match filled with incredible action. And like I said earlier, I just can't wait to rewatch it again. My segment of the night was Ricky Saint's contract signing. It was so good to get a taste of Ricky in NXT and see the beginnings of new storylines and continuing ones. I'm so excited and ready for this new chapter in Ricky's career, and I truly think it's going to be great. Overall, I rate the show about an 8 out of 10. It was just, again, so good, and I can't wait for next week. NXT is truly the brand, the top brand in all of WWE. I stand firm on that because it's just the truth. They have banger after banger every week, and Shawn Michaels knows what he's doing, okay? And I really appreciate it. He has the women main event. Sometimes the women open the show. They get a hell of a lot more TV time than the women on main roster do. And for the men as well, like, they just get fantastic storylines. Every single storyline on TV, 10 out of 10. Main roster can't say that. So you know what? Props to NXT, props to Shawn Michaels and everyone in creative down there because it is just incredible. But that'll do it for today's episode. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. If you liked it, make sure to leave a 5-star review. If you enjoyed, follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.